today's demo will be someone who liked one of the demos that I showed before. So this is actually something I actually recorded myself doing this. I'll probably share it on YouTube sometime soon. This is for a brand that's like a local media publication. And basically what we did is we're going to do the same process today just to get you caught up on the overall plan of how we're going to do this in 45 minutes. You start with a basic description about your business, idea, target audience, products you sell, whatever it is. Then we're going to use AI to come up with 3 different, what I call vibes, which just means like describing how it can emotionally, visually, and energetically resonate with your target audience. So we have AI do a lot of that research and thinking in just a few minutes, really just like one click, and come up with 3 different angles. And then what we do is we use Nano Banana Pro to see what that would look like. And the cool thing with AI now is it can do really good visual thinking and graphic design. And what I call the mood board method is going from written vibe to a visual concept. And then you can choose which direction you want to go in. Once you pick the direction that you like, you can start to imagine that brand and use AI to like see what it could look like, all of your marketing assets, your content, all that good stuff. All right. And even now we're doing graphic design, ad creation. It's pretty crazy, all one click with AI. So I'll do some more training on that stuff down the road. But also the visual assets part of it. So this is a big part of it, is coming up with all the content that you need to create videos, social media content, sales funnels, graphics, emails. It's a lot of raw materials. So I'll walk through that today and show you how AI can help with that. And if you're new here, let me just show you a quick rundown of the big idea. There's really 3 things you need to focus on. We're going to get into the initial foundation today, but the reason we're doing this and why you need to have your brand organized, your visual direction clear, is so you can do these 3 things well. Number 1 is marketing. Number 2 is messaging. And number 3 is monetization. If you do these three things well, you will be successful. And let's see here. I guess I'll just manually do it. But as you probably know, it's very hard to do this. It's easy to waste a lot of time over here. And as someone who has built hundreds of brands over the years, a few 7-figure brands from scratch, but I've worked with many entrepreneurs over and over again, they get stuck in these early stages, and it can be really painful and costly and frustrating. And you can't even get in the game of building your brand and doing the things that actually make you money if you're stuck in these early decisions. So if you don't know by now, this is a big deal, because if you're not actually in the game, creating content, growing your business, sharing value in the marketplace, you're probably getting ignored, because the people who are doing that are rising up. They're getting found, or people are showing up, and they are attracting all of the leads, sales, and opportunities with way less effort, right? So that's the opportunity, is if you do this, if you get a good foundation, you can move much faster and execute at a higher level with those 3 things that you need to do. And if you do that, you can rise up and become an authority in your niche. So the mood board method is designed to solve this initial phase. And it looks kind of like this. And actually, I just finished up a pretty crazy, let me show you this one. Actually working on this brand, Bex & Co. We built this one today using Nano Banana. So it actually brought it all together. This is pretty epic. We did some AI like filters with Nano Banana. And as you scroll down the page, you'll see how it has a consistent look and feel. Fonts and colors really look good. Some of these images we're going to swap out, but it's a starting point. But stuff like this, you can just see the consistent look and feel. When you have these assets, the visual direction in place, you can move much faster and everything gets much easier. And I actually used AI and Nano Banana a lot to come up with ideas. I actually fed it all of the sales copy that we wrote and had it mock up what the page could look like. So when I went down, or when I sat down to start creating the page, I had all these ideas to pull from. I had the raw assets and materials to use, and it made it way faster and much easier. So that's why we're doing this, right? If you've ever built a website or an online sales funnel or even a YouTube video, you know how crazy difficult that can be if you don't have some of these things in place. So our last 3 demos, we went through and built out some brands: Flow, Date Pop, and the French Cookie Guys. We had a beverage, we had cookies, and we had a clothing brand. So those were all pretty fun. And today we have a YouTube channel. So Portable Professional is a YouTube channel. And Megan, I appreciate leaving a review. Megan got the course. Thanks for the review on our Facebook page. And thanks for the comment on one of our recent videos. And congrats on a pretty crazy YouTube channel that's doing well. So this will be fun to help you rebrand your YouTube channel. Let me just pull it up. This is Megan's YouTube channel, almost 300,000 subscribers. Maybe some of you watching can go over there and help her out and get that over the top. But this is what we're going to be looking at, rebranding this brand. And we have the information here that Megan shared. And let's just take a look at this. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. We're going to use this as the starting point. So while we review that, let me pull up my prompts and we're going to get right into it. All right. So if you have the mood board method, this will look familiar. We've got all these prompts that I use, and it makes the whole process super fun. All right. So we've got a refresh of the brand. We have YouTube educational brand, helping older adults navigate modern travel rules, TSA airlines with confidence and clarity. Visually prioritize extreme legibility and trust with a clean, organized, local scoop style. That's referring to that one I just showed you. Let's see, strictly avoiding cluttered or hard to read designs. A little bit more details in here. The vision. All right. Target audience, older adults, mostly from the US, the aesthetic and vibe. And this is stuff that you could do for yourself. I'd recommend in the early stages, at least get some of this written out, and you can do a quick brainstorm. What I would recommend doing is just talk it out. You could actually look at this document here and just kind of do the same thing, but open up something like ChatGPT or whatever AI tool that you use and transcribe it. I like ChatGPT because it's really good at just transcribing when I talk, just to get it all written out of your head. And I like to just talk it out because writing's no fun. So if you just had a few of these key points you wanted to hit, this is good enough to get started. Obviously, any other information you have about your business would be useful as well. But we have a few things: the vision, what you do, what you offer, who you help, the basic look and feel that you want, the style, and then anything you want to avoid. So good details here. We don't want any clutter or chaotic layouts, no neon or harsh colors, no generic wanderlust aesthetics. So a lot of these are pretty subjective. So, we'll see what it comes up with. And what I like to do with clients in this process is just coming up with ideas really quick. So I actually do this a lot of times with clients on the call. What I'm going to do today, we'll just get this out of the way and just come up with very different directions and ideas. And then sometimes it's hard to understand what they mean by things when they write it, but when they can see it and point to it and talk it out, that makes the whole process much faster. So if you're doing this for yourself, it's easier to see things. If you have the clients that you do this for, talking it out and looking at things is way easier. And if you have a team, it's easier to bounce ideas around really quick. So you can make decisions much faster if you do this. Okay, so I need a logo and typography system that prioritizes legibility for an older demographic while keeping it friendly, modern feel. All right, so what I'm going to do is take all this, I'm going to copy it, and we're going to go right into gemini.google.com. And let me just make myself a little bit smaller for you. All right, we're going to paste that in. And now I'm going to grab the brand vibe prompt. All this is over at moodboardmethod.com. And let's see here. I'm also going to grab some other details. So what I think I'm going to do is let's grab some of this information, because any info that you have written up can be useful. And I may even, what I might do, let's go to popular videos. I don't want to show any visuals at this stage, but it would help to get some screenshots, right? So I could actually use a screenshot tool, maybe just grab a bunch of this. There we go. And what I'll do is I'm going to drop this in and just say, write up all the video titles and an overall description of the content. So I'm going to get that written out just so we have this. And this is a shortcut for any of your research. If you have visuals that you like, take screenshots. That's obviously useful. But what you can also do is just have it write things up so you have it in written form. That could be useful as well. So let's have Gemini just write this up. Some of you hanging out live, if you are here, let's take a look. We got some comments. What's up? We got Chance. Hey, got me live. Let's see here. Got some questions already while that's going. I ran all of the prompts through Gemini. How do you get more than one input each run? You could just keep going in the same chat. Is that what you're asking? You mean like multiple images at once? I haven't seen a good way to do that in Gemini, if that's what you're asking. But in the chat thread, you can keep going. Oh, cool. Yeah, brand vibe is working for you. Nice. Hello, Dr. Who Design. Okay, let's grab this text and let's just grab all this. This is useful content. So I'm really just trying to feed the AI a little bit more information about the brand so it has more to pull from. So we have the mood board or the brand vibe report prompt. We have the basic brief of the project and what they want. And then I have whatever information I could find about the brand. Just from a quick, looking at their YouTube channel. That's all we're grabbing. Okay, now what I wanted to do here is I can write one report. I can zoom in for you so it's easier to see. Or if you type in the number 2, it will write out 3 ideas, which I really like to do. So 3 ideas, what is trained to do here, and it may not follow the brief perfectly because it's trying to give you 3 very different ideas. And again, that can be useful because sometimes you don't know what you want until you see it. Okay, the number 1 that we got, angle number 1, the clear-cut navigator. Now, sometimes in the old days, what I would do is read through these and tweak them at this stage. That was when like ChatGPT was slower. But now that the AIs are so fast at making images, I kind of just grab these and run with it. I just want to see what the AI, how it interprets this and what it comes up with. So now I'm going to grab the mood board generator prompt. And I'm going to drop all this into another chat. So I have a chat here with this entire prompt. And then the very end, we have that first angle. So I'll drop that in. And I'm not going to give it any other info. I could here, since it's making the mood board, it may make sense to give it some of that additional information. But there's pros and cons to adding more info because sometimes the AI will be more creative if you give it less info. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go copy all this, whatever I wrote in here. So I grabbed this information. I like to have all this backed up too. So what we're going to do, I highly recommend doing this as you go through your own process, get all this stuff stored somewhere. So on this document, I had all this in here. I'm just gonna start adding stuff to the top. Okay, it's okay if it's ugly. It doesn't really matter. That's fine. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to grab what we wrote up over here as well. So it's going to have a lot of info about this brand. Just to make this look better, I'll just clean that up. Okay, so I have all this information that we want to train the AI. I'm going to drop this one in the second chat. Okay, we have this, and I'm going to get my second angle going, the trusted companion. And all it's doing here is describing the style. All right, I'm going to run that. So I had another chat. So this is just kind of messy. It's just multiple chats. But what I have in each one of these is the mood board generator prompt. And then I have, in this one, I put in all the details about the business. So it has a lot of more context. Then I also added in the vibe. So let me put these vibes over here. So there's side by side. There we go. We already got the first one made. Let's see what that came up with. Okay, it's pretty, I think it's following the instructions pretty well, like super clean and easy to read. That was a big priority. It's hard to really see the brand come to life here. So probably because we didn't give it a lot of info about the kind of content that they're creating. So I think the second one may be better as far as the type of content. This is interesting. It's so much different than her current channel. It's kind of fun to see what it could look like. We definitely see more of the ideal customer here, like older, which maybe we should define that more because it seems like maybe a little bit too old, but obviously she herself is not the same age as the target audience. So we may want to describe that. But again, some of the visuals could speak more to the customers as well. Let's go ahead and grab the prompt again and do the third one. You can watch me go through this. Okay, now we're going to grab the info here. And then I will grab the third, the Savvy Insider. That sounds good. What's cool too is you'll read through some of these and it actually comes up with content pillars. It comes up with core content and offers. We have visual identity direction, ideal audience, tone of voice. So these are some basic things that you're going to want to have figured out in the early stages. But we also have some positioning angles. So unlocking the secrets of industry to turn the audience into the smartest travelers. So very different positioning is another thing that these vibe angles will do. Helpful, knowledgeable. It's going to be pretty similar since this one is so niche down. But let's see here. Clean blue. So it's describing the kind of look and feel. We have this third one. Let's run that. Now I like to download all the results that I get, and I might run this one again just because I feel like it was missing some of that information about the brand. So let's try dropping all this in. And I'm going to get the mood board prompt here. Let's copy that. And what we're kind of doing is replacing the process of going out and researching, where you're kind of using the brain of the AI and trying to extract out what it think would be effective for this type of brand, target audience, kind of content you're creating, or whatever product or service you're offering. In this case, it looks like it's pretty much purely just YouTube content is the value that the brand is providing. Now, I didn't give it any of the initial brand look and feel, which was so different, right? This is what the brand currently is, and just seeing these different directions is very interesting. Okay, this is slightly updated. It didn't really do much. So in some cases, the answer earlier was a question about multiple chats in one thread. And in this case, you may not get much variation. So I could just copy this whole thing and just fire up another one with that same description, right? But we'll get very different results. So it's having 3 different angles, and then you could try multiple times within one of those angles, because every time the AI generates an image, it's going to look pretty different. Okay, this is actually looking more like her current stuff. So that may feel more on brand, right? So we have this kind of look. And this maybe is just a cleaner, slightly refined look. The last thing I didn't give it that would be interesting is kind of the scope of all of this. So the requests that they had. We gave that initially in the vibe, but it may not have translated through. I think it probably followed it pretty well. I mean, reading through it and seeing what it came up with, it did seem to follow this pretty well. But it really looks like there was kind of a narrow. It was very descriptive what they wanted here with this look and feel. So that's probably why we're not getting a lot of like creative wild stuff here, because it was very important for it to be clear and easy to read. So what I like to do here is get all of these loaded in and then we look at them. And I'm going to check that other one that we ran just to see, okay, this is interesting, right? It's actually kind of similar, but again, if you feel like the colors, if there's something about one of them that you like, what you can do is try a few more generations. If you feel like it's just not quite there, it's not really like jumping out to you. Let me show you what we did with this one. And let's see, did it download? I think sometimes it takes a minute to download. There we go. So this was the same information. Let's just take a look at how it did it. It is pretty similar. But I'm drawn to this one, I think, because of some of this up here. I kind of see how the brand's coming together better. The mood board isn't the end all be all. It's just a direction. But you can start to see, you know, are there things about it that you like? The contrast, the look, the feel, the colors, the textures, with different kinds of background imagery, the photos. It is looking like the images I'm seeing here are so different from her channel because it's a lot of her in it. And it does feel like we're kind of going more like luxury. I mean, this one's interesting, right? I mean, if you're trying to change the brand, that would be pretty interesting. To me, I'm kind of feeling like these two directions. I'm leaning more towards this one since she already has strongly branded the yellow color. So I feel like deviating from that at this point would be a pretty harsh turn. If she wanted to just kind of mellow it out, make it a little bit more premium, this could be the direction. So now what you can do, let me see here. Let me take a look at a couple of questions here. Let's see. Something has a sample visual. Yeah, if they have a sample visual they want to anchor, you can take screenshots of stuff and upload it. That works really well. That's actually what I did with that brand I showed you before. Let me show it to you again. With this one, I followed the same process for this brand, and we actually went with a much more premium look with the kind of like visuals, the contrast, the darker, moody look and feel, some of the like fractal crystal styles, the like art that we used, kind of this kind of look, much more dark and moody. That all came from a bunch of inspiration that we uploaded in. So in the early stages, we had some things, and I think I just described it. So I actually ran it through the AI and just said, hey, describe the look and feel. And I just gathered up a bunch of stuff and dropped that in and almost used that in a similar way that we used this kind of stuff, right? So you're just trying to give it some guidance. And I do think it's following pretty well. It's not as exciting as I would like. So I think we need a little bit more quirkiness into it and not as old. That's kind of going elderly, where I don't think that's the target from what I see in this information here. And her current channel. But that would be one way, is either visually or written. You can give it that raw information to start. I didn't have any visuals from this person, so I didn't do that, but that is an option. Hey, what's up, Cornell? All right, keep the questions coming if you have them while we were watching. And I'm going to keep moving here with this project. I think this early stage is pretty critical for this brand. And based on what I'm seeing, I want to make some pivots here. I feel like I want to stick with the yellow as the primary. Now it does write this up. This is the color scheme that I go with, and it's following it pretty well, which is one thing that I love about Nano Banana Pro is it follows your prompts really well. So I have a very specific approach to my color palettes that I use. And in this case, I want to use the yellow as the primary. So I'm going to go back and look at where we made this one. I think I'm just going to give it some feedback. Let's go ahead and let's see if it works here. Okay, what I want to do is make this feel a little bit more youthful. I think this is targeting too elderly of an audience. We're looking for more like adults, professionals, maybe ages like 30 to 60 at the most, I'm guessing. This is just feeling like it's targeting much more elderly crowd, where I think we're looking at professional age, people who are pretty active and traveling a lot. I also want to make the yellow the primary color. And let's just try a new version of that with these changes, but otherwise pretty good. But maybe just overall give it a little bit more of an artsy feel, a little bit, try to follow the specs, but see if you can weave in a little bit more of an energetic travel feel to it. I don't want to deviate too much because I know there was like specifics. Looking back at the brief here, it was like trying to avoid like generic wanderlust, overly youthful or whimsical. So I don't want to go too far in that direction. And what I love about the chat interface of doing this is you can kind of just talk it out. Now it'll either make the image, which, yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, very different. Interesting how it's so cool how quick that was. I wonder if it's almost like a mix of the two. This is interesting. It's way more artsy, right? This is where this is like, to be honest, like I love doing this with clients because it's so fast now. And like, it's not my brand. So I'm not really, it's like hard if I don't have them. So this is kind of the new era of design is doing things in real time. Or what I will do is get a bunch of ideas. So if it is something that I want to present to the client, I will do this as part of the process again, or if I'm doing it for myself, same kind of thing. I'm going to go down this path of trying things and then see which direction I like. And let's see, like, okay, now let's try to mix these together. Yeah, so it's a bit more how they want it. Yeah, that's where the little more, this is interesting. I wonder what that will do. Now, sometimes you'll have luck going down the same chat thread. Oftentimes, though, I like to start fresh. So if it's way off, what I'll have it do is describe, like review all the updates and changes that we made, and then write a new description of what I want. And then I would take that into another chat and run it with the prompt. Okay, this is actually looking pretty good. I think this is the closest from what I can see. And it's interesting how it kind of brought that vibrancy of what they currently have on YouTube into this new one. You see how it kind of brought more of a stronger color palette, which I think would work better. We don't have the red that she uses a lot. But that could work. Again, these are slight variations, but overall pretty good. Let's rock with that one. But if it wasn't hitting it, or if I feel like it was getting stuck in like a groove of the same thing, I could do this. I would say, okay, this is looking pretty good, but we're missing the mark a little bit. Could you review everything that we've already done and then write up a detailed description of what I'm looking for so I can send this to my designer to have them work on it? They need to know what to avoid and then what I'd like to see in the visual direction. Okay, so I'll do that. And I like saying, so I can send it to my designer so the AI knows or has some context around like, oh, I could write this in a way that will inform a designer, even though I'm going to use it in AI again. So I'm actually going to try that. But I'm going to start moving in this direction here, but I'm going to try that just so you can see what we're looking at. All right, so we'll drop that in at the end. I'm going to take. All right, so now we have a more detailed description. I'll drop that in and let's just stick with that. Okay, so while that runs, we're going to go ahead and create some new stuff. Gemini surprised you every time in a good way or a bad way. It's usually nowadays, I mean, pretty amazingly good. You don't get too many of the dud results. It's pretty jaw dropping. All right, now let's go ahead and do. I'm gonna get into some of the good stuff. The written guidelines. If we're really happy with it, what I'm gonna do is test out because that's kind of what you want to do if you're really happy with the direction. Get it written up so it's a little bit more detailed and specific. I think at this stage, what I want to see are some, in this case, real world concepts of how this brand could come to life. So the YouTube stuff is going to be key. So let's take a look at YouTube. And this is true for whatever you're doing with your brand. What kind of content are you making? And I probably have some mock-ups to help you with that. If I don't, just request it, or you could get in there and get creative and do it yourself. All right, so I have this. Now I'm going to drop in that mood board image. And I'm going to give it the details that we wrote up about the business. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all this info. And I guess, I could even grab some of this info since this is pretty close. And I might even, again, I told you earlier, try to save this stuff. At this point, I'd probably do a new tab. And because it's getting a little bit long. So I have an updated version of this whole write-up. So I'm going to take the old stuff and just put it down here. I'll call it old stuff. And I'll say new stuff just for time's sake. Okay, so I have the updated description of what the AI thinks I'm going for with this look. We have the details I grabbed from the YouTube. So that could be useful. Oh, this is cool. It's a little bit busy. Come back to that. I'm going to delete some of this. Okay. All right, I'm going to drop all that. So what I gave it now is the prompt for the YouTube thumbnails, the mood board image, some basic info about the business, especially the YouTube content, the kind of content, and then the updated description of the vibe and the visual direction, which is kind of like the written brand guidelines, but it was based on that chat that we had. So I'm curious with all of that information, it's now going to try to come up with some YouTube thumbnail ideas. And I'm curious what this will look like compared to the current channel. While that's going, let's see what this did, because this was with that updated description, right? This has a good feel to it. Maybe a bit busy with the hand-drawn elements, but it's not bad. It does kind of guide the eye. So I think that's a pretty good result that I would definitely run by a client to say, hey, which one are you liking? There it goes. We have a bit of a teal over here versus that light blue. It's very clean and simple. I like the kind of like a Montserrat bold font. Definitely grabs my attention more. So let's see what we're doing here with the YouTube. Okay, this is looking kind of like her channel, but it does feel like a bit of an upgrade. A little bit busy though. So that's one challenge that I'm seeing is it's a little bit busier than I expected it to be. It's not too bad though. It's honestly just these little like hand-drawn elements. It's not overly busy, but it does feel a tiny bit, maybe compared to what she was looking for. But that's pretty cool. You can see it's actually grabbing her content, so you can almost compare like what hers look like compared to what we're seeing over here. Do we have the 8? Yeah, here it is, the 8 TSA secrets. Her style of thumbnails obviously is effective. She's crushing it on YouTube, but it's fun to see what other ideas or like styles of thumbnails you create. Now, I'm actually curious to see, since this is a YouTube heavy brand, I'm gonna actually copy this whole thing and I'm gonna run it through again. And I'm gonna take this other mood board to see if the style is different. So what would the thumbnails look like with this? Let's see here. In a good way, no matter what I use it for, does it perfectly. Yeah, it's so smart. Made a few tools for a client I have, and things went well for me. Nice. Good to hear. Yeah, people are really blown away with this Gemini 3 model and Nano Banana Pro. It is really smart. So we're finally there where I can really keep up with you. Like I used to have these crazy long prompts and like it's kind of picking up things. Now you feel like it's really doing a good job. Okay. And as we say that, we get something like this. It didn't do it at all. So let me try again. We'll see if it can. Yeah, it's probably not gonna. Probably should have done this whole thing, make the image, and chose this. Normally I don't have to, but sometimes, yeah, it's struggling. Make the image. Just stop that. Let's see if it can correct itself. This one's loading correctly. All right, so now we're over. I've skipped over to the mockups, mostly because I want to see if it's looking right. The brand layers can be a little bit tedious. Before we go into that direction, I want to look to see if we're in the right direction. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. See if we're in the right direction first. And you can kind of jump ahead and start mocking up some things to see if you like the look and feel. And if you're making decisions like I am right now between a couple different styles, this could be useful. This one feels a little bit more high contrast, a little bit more bold. And that's kind of what I liked about the look of this mood board compared to this one, is it just felt like it's drawing you in more, but it may be a bit busy. Let's see how the thumbnail mockup looks. And when you get into actually using this stuff, you could, oops, that is the same one. You could obviously fine tune your designs as you go. I mean, both are pretty good, huh? Pretty incredible. It actually even gave us a logo, which, all right. I like what it's doing there. I'm going to stick with this. I'm liking that direction. Feels good to me. Just for time's sake. Obviously, these decisions can be like really minute. They're not that different. They're both pretty good. So let's go ahead and go with this one. I kind of like how it's looking. So now I'm gonna get into some of the assets, because they were looking for like logos and a little bit more of the foundation for the brand. But with a brand like this, you're pretty much looking at the logos, the kind of images you need, and mocking up the actual thumbnails like this can be really bring the whole thing together pretty fast. So let's go ahead and grab. Now we have all this info. Yep, this is our updated info. I'm just going to drop it all in there, and let's grab a new one, which will be some of the brand development prompts here, like the logo one. Let's try that. All right. And I'm going to run that. Let's go back to some of these. Oh, it actually did. Was this the other one too? Yeah, it was. Okay. So we have 2 now. Definitely more of that clean look that I think they were going for. Not sure where this vertical typography came in. Didn't seem to follow the mood board very well, but it's at least useful, right? Even if you're not loving it, it's useful, like as you're in the stage, to see things and point out, like, yeah, I don't like that. And here's why. Maybe you can't articulate it if you're not like a designer, but you can at least show a designer or look at this and be like, what am I not liking about it? Could be your gut instinct. But in this case, comparing it to the overall look and feel, I don't like the vertical typography here because that didn't fit the brand, where this one followed it better. It's still not perfect with fonts. Even if you give it the exact font, it's not always perfect. Just where it's just not quite there yet. So if you're looking for like perfect on brand content, not quite there yet. Getting better though. All right, let's look here at logo ideas. All right, these are looking pretty cool. Now this prompt comes up with several ideas, different types like word marks, combination marks, letter marks. Pretty much had it just come up with like a wide range of logo styles to see if something jumps out. And then you could go in and say, all right, I think I'd probably say this one looks pretty friendly. I don't like that. It's too simple. Doesn't have the professional in it. That's kind of interesting, but kind of vague. I mean, this one's super simple. And what you also notice too in the mock-up, sometimes it'll do things like make logos. And I've had some clients actually like a logo that it just made up randomly in a mock-up. And they're like, yeah, I like that. So that's another useful thing that you could try, like maybe this kind of stuff, pulling out. So that's where some of the other mock-ups can be useful for even the early stages of building your brand identity, like especially some kind of like sales deck or sales funnel. Let's go ahead and just do these really quick. And I'm gonna just kind of have rapid fire here at the end. I won't get into the weeds of like vectorizing these logos. You can go back to some of my past couple demos and actually like go in and show you how to vectorize these and start to actually build out the assets that you need. But for now, I just want to show you some of the fun stuff that I like to play with. We're going to do the right here. There we go. Grab that. Grab all this. And we're going to do a sales deck. Maybe not useful in her case, but again, you can see different ideas for the brand. Let's do another one here. Let's try. I'm going to do a sales funnel because that could be useful. I noticed I didn't really see much of a like sales funnel, which with 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, I would highly recommend giving them somewhere to go that's not just an affiliate link. So this could help you come up with some ideas. What also could help is a quiz funnel. So you can actually learn more about your audience and segment them better. So let's go ahead and do that one. And this is, again, useful because we can start to see, is this brand looking right? Do I like it? Do we need to go back to the beginning? At least you can find out in a few minutes with a few mock-ups like this. All right, sales deck. This is looking pretty interesting. Doing the vertical font again, which, if you like that, that could work. It wasn't part of the mood board. So we have the YouTube stuff. And again, if I grab this mood board, we can kind of see how well it's following the design style compared to, and I'm going to go ahead and drop in, we had the logo ideas. Let's go back to the logos here, and I'm going to drop in a couple of those screenshots, and I'll just say, give me, how many did we do? 12? I think so, yeah. Give me 12 more. but all the combo mark style like this, 12 very different ideas to choose from. So saying stuff like that, 12 like very different ideas. Otherwise it may just repeat or do some of the similar stuff. Let that run. I do feel like a chef sometimes where I'm like just cooking things or putting this in the oven. We're coming back, grabbing the potatoes. Let's see here. Yeah, as I said that, we were on the same page with a cook. And thanks, Steph. Yeah, if you guys are interested in getting some help, just shout out that we have some openings. We're taking people for 2026. We got some really cool stuff we're doing. If you don't want to get in the weeds and do all the technical stuff, then we can help you out. We've got VAs trained. You can meet with me personally to get your strategy, develop things, and do some of this stuff together to help you make better decisions, get the foundation in place, and then start to put together all the pieces. Because when you get in the technical stuff, it gets really tricky. So go over to designhacker.com/upgrade if you're interested in getting some help. If you don't want to click 1,000 times, we can help you do that. We've got a team trained, and I can help you with the strategy, high level, and getting all this lined up. Really, really cool package there. If you're interested, just go check it out. And you can even get on a call with us to see if it's a good fit for you. Otherwise, if you do like to click all the buttons and you're on a little bit tighter budget, check out our products over at designhacker.com/products. We have the mood board method course, and we have the brand builder club, which is crazy good value. It's like everything we use in our agency, all the prompts, everything we do, and behind the scenes sessions every week with me to show you what we're doing for clients. Like we get way more in the weeds of all the like crazy stuff. And yeah, you actually get to see more behind the curtain. Join the brand builder club because that is for the DIYers who want to learn and see what we're doing. Okay. This is pretty cool. So again, seeing what this brand could look like, the mockups are super helpful. And I do like the direction. I think some of this, what I've found is sometimes you can't quite see it in some of the initial mockups or the mood board, but as you get into some of the other mockups, you're like, oh yeah, I really like where this brand is going. I like the clean, simple look. Sometimes it just shines through better in different situations. And I've done this with like even entire sales pages. I'll take the sales copy that we wrote and run through like 10 times. I'll do a prompt to like mock up this entire sales page, mock up this entire sales page. I'll give it all the information about the brand, like the mood board, the inspiration, and the written descriptions, and the entire sales page copy. And it will give me like all these different ideas to pull from. And man, it's so helpful because now I can be like, oh, I love how it did that. And like how it like showed that information and how it created a diagram to show the contrast or the pros and cons or whatever it is, like the different packages. It can mock up a lot of things for you. And look at this, a sales funnel mock-up. We have a potential like freebie that could be created, what it looks like afterwards, or subscribe for free, a different kind of mock-up here. We have the, oh cool, like a paid offer membership program. This is cool, monthly intel. I don't think they even have that. That's a really cool ideas. I really like the look of this, these like subtle gradients. When I go in and start looking for assets that I need, I'm going to actually start looking at these mock-ups a lot of times to be like, okay, I'm seeing what we're doing here in the background. I was like white with like a really faint blue gradient. And what you could do is start to grab these pieces and you can just like literally take a screenshot of it and then go grab something like this, just a tiny little prompt here. What I'm going to do is just change this a bit. No text or anything else, just the background. And if you use AI Studio, you can get up to 4K resolution with no watermark. These all have the watermarks. It's way faster. They're a bit lower resolution here in Gemini, but if you use AI Studio, it's really easy. It's basically the same setup here, but you can control the aspect ratio and the resolution, and it removes the logo. It just charges per image generation to your API key, which is only a few cents per image. So it's really doesn't cost much at all. Let's go ahead and drop this in. Recreate this background image exactly the same as a super high res. There we go. Let's run that. So that should give us just the background with that subtle kind of like grainy blue. And that's what I like to pull out this kind of stuff and start using it, because now you have the assets that you need, and you could recreate it with CSS or whatever you do with your web design. But you see even like how it's presenting this stuff. We're getting this like subtle, now where's that color coming from? It's kind of this, it's kind of weaving in that, yeah, it's interesting where it's pulling this light blue, because I don't really see it in the mood board, but I do like how it looks with it. So it could be another color we kind of introduce into the palette. And that's what I've found happens as you get into the weeds of doing all this, is you see these different styles and maybe you like one more than the other. And you see very different look and feel here, right? Now this is the quiz funnel mockup. Maybe we don't like the style, but at least can give you ideas about the content, right? But similar look and feel. I see like the kind of hand-drawn lines, the icons, the outline, single line icon style here. I like the consistency of that. I'm seeing that kind of look and feel with how the kind of hand-drawn look, but a combination of like really clean aesthetic, really defined lines and spacing with a bit of that hand-drawn look and good high contrast for easy legibility. That's what I'm seeing coming together really nicely. All right, let's go back and see how we did here. We got Nano Banana Pro trying to create that background image. We have the sales deck mockup. Did I download that? Yeah. So another one, I mean, a lot of design happens in a sales deck. So you can really look in here and see, is there anything that I'm liking? Seeing how the icons are used, seeing the kind of messaging that is being done here. What kind of imagery could we use? How are they using the colors to like highlight words? Like the AI is actually pretty good at design, so I can get some ideas. I like how the blue and the yellow here are contrasting, the simplicity of a call to action. Like you can see ad ideas. I mean, there's so much you could see in here of how to bring your brand together. Hey, Karen, thank you. Appreciate that. And hopefully these demos can help you get even more value out of it. I plan to kind of crunch all these demos down in the future. So, but I think there's a lot of value in just seeing it in real time, because there's, you know, when you get in the weeds of this stuff, it's a lot of little tiny little things that can kind of get you stuck. Ooh, interesting. Okay. And then also just trying to get the most out of AI, because like that's the challenge. Like it can do a lot, but like how do you get it to do the thing, right? This is what I found to be one of the most effective ways to just get more, get more out of it, is using a combination of all these pieces that we have, right? Giving it the mood board. This is from like earlier this year. I really found the magic of if you can just feed the AI some kind of visual. And what I've done is try to package all the things that you would need in any kind of design that you create are in this mood board. So you have stock photos, personal photos, you have the color palette, the fonts, the accent elements, the background imagery, textures, different dark light contrast. So all that's coded into it in the prompt. So these mood boards are pretty valuable because it can show the AI a lot of the different things that it may need and how it could put them together. And now with these mockups being so good, it's a really powerful combo to see what it can do based on that foundation. And now we're moving pretty fast. Like in the old days, you'd pay a bunch of money to get like stuff like this created for you. I mean, so fun. Look at these designs. And then a new prompt that I have as well. And some of these are they're like brand new, so I don't even have images or anything for them. Down here at the bottom are like some of the experimental ones, but the brand font finder, we could say, I love the font, help me identify it. I mean, I don't even have to type that. The prompt has all that in it, but I'll just re-upload that so it knows what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can guess. Is it, gosh, I know what that font is. And it's not coming to mind right now. But what it's going to do is try to identify what font is being used. And it will give you 3 ideas. So I trained this prompt to look at the header and body fonts. In this case, it's pretty much just going to be one font, I guess. And then give 3 of its best ideas, and then link to the Google font, because I really like using Google fonts. It makes everything so much easier in your business. If you do get a custom font, try to use it sparingly, because just building websites and all the different tools you use online, if you have a Google font, it's way easier. All right, so I can look at the 3, like Poppins, League, Spartan, Outfit. Interesting. I don't think it's Poppins. I don't know why my thing is doing that. Outfit looks actually pretty close. If we were to look at, okay, well, it's too many things. Let me just pull it up. All right, we could look at this, and we could do portable, professional. I'm looking at, I don't think this is because the L is way off. So the L has a little loop at the end. So this definitely isn't it, but I could try this one, which looks intriguing. The L didn't have a loop though, but that font does feel pretty similar. Let's see if any of the other ones came through. Oh, where did I? Aha, okay. Poppin, okay, Moolish, DM Sands, is that the one I was thinking? Where's the L? No, it's that little curly L is what I'm looking for. All these could work. I mean, that looks great. That's pretty close, but it's just not quite. No, this one didn't get it either. Okay, so it missed the mark. And that's where I'm finding like it's still not quite there with its ability to do this. This brand's pretty nice. So what is this one? DM Sands. Yeah, that's a nice one. They could all work, but it missed the mark. So I like to test that. We're not quite there with it nailing that. Fonts and colors, it's still not perfect following your guidelines for that. This one, it stalled out creating the background image. So that's a bummer. Could try again, I guess. We've got like 2 minutes here. Let's see if I can do it. This image, yeah, let's see. And let's see what else we created here. Was there anything else that I wanted to show that we had running? Any last second questions? Drop them now. We had these. Okay, I think we got through everything I made. This got hung up. This one's still trying. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, you see how it kind of make the background image. It has more yellow in it than I thought, but sometimes it's hard to tell until you actually like have it created. But that right there could help you start to create graphics, right? Just that subtle background makes a difference. It can help you stay on brand. And now all your content just magically starts to look way better. So what we did is, looking back, the vibe that we had, I want to get all that documented. So this one wasn't it. I'm pretty sure it was the second vibe, right? It was the trusted companion vibe. So I'm going to go just save all that. In the actual assets part of it, we started building out some of these things like background images, logo designs. Oops, that's actually over here. We started. The written guidelines, I didn't even use my prompt. I used the summary from the AI that summarized what we were looking for. So it actually was this. And what I could do just to get a final, more detailed brand guidelines is, just use this prompt plus the brief that we already wrote up, plus the mood board image. And now at least we'll have a little bit more info. This is a pretty cool prompt because it really writes out in details of some things, a combination of things I found from lots of image generation testing of like what kind of prompting or written instructions can help it. And I've included that in this output. So we get some of the basics like the personality, emotional tone, typographic style, color palette, all the basics. And it is not using hex codes or specific fonts because again, it doesn't follow it that well. But if you wanted to go grab all those exact things, you could do that. In some of my other demos, I showed you how to go get the color palette, basically how to extract out all the fonts and colors and everything from the mood board. That's an option. Oh, and I do see down here where the vertical text was coming in. So that's something that I may want to fix if I don't want to use that more tall font. That's definitely where it's pulling from, because it's a bit out of brand. It's not terrible though. I mean, it looks good and you don't have to be that strict. Let's see what else we got. Textural and world backgrounds, photographic direction, visual symbols, icons and accents, mock-up style and content applications, overall brand system summary, artistic style signature. And then this last one's pretty cool. Our cinematic world building and atmosphere. So all of that is what I call the written brand guidelines. And this is a powerful written description, which is similar to what we had the AI write up over here, but a little bit more stuff in here that I've included. All right, so all of that written up. I'll just go ahead and put it in here. There we go. We got a pretty good direction, about 45 minutes or so, a little bit over today. But you can see the process here, mood board method with Nano Banana Pro. And yeah, we may have a new ChatGPT image model coming out soon. So once that happens, I'll be testing that, seeing rumors going around. And we're just going to keep up with whatever is happening in the AI space, because these models are just getting better and better, smarter and smarter. And the key is like, what do you do with it? So if we get a good foundation in place, now you can start to actually build stuff out. The sales funnel, the content, products and offerings, and just going back to what really matters is these three things, right? So let me just show you this. It all comes down to marketing, messaging, monetization, and everything I showed you today is just the beginning stages to get organized so that you can start to do these things at a higher level. And when you do, you can rise up, become an authority brand. That's got to be your goal. This was my goal like a year and a half ago. I was like, I'm gonna start doing YouTube. And I had like, I don't know, 500 subscribers. And I had one video do pretty well. I got to like 2,500. But this year, starting in April, we got some big wins, right? And it was just sharing what I'm doing for clients. So stuff I'm already getting paid to do, I started teaching it and sharing it and got a big audience. And now we've been averaging 35 leads per day for free from YouTube since mid-April of 2025. And we've also generated hundreds of sales for our digital products and our agency work. These are like free leads. We tried running ads too, and it was costing a ridiculous amount of money per lead. So I really value and appreciate everyone who's gone over to designhacker.com, opted into our freebies. We try to share valuable updates, all these kind of videos that we're doing and training, even for free. But of course, if you want to start doing this yourself, get the mood board method. If you want to come join us in the club, I'll be sharing a lot more behind the scenes of like how I've done, like all the lessons I've learned from doing this kind of stuff. And my goal is to help everyone, get out of that stuck or, sidelines kind of mode where you have an online presence, but it's not doing much for you, to like get it in the game and rise up to the top 10% of your industry. That's where all the opportunities, sales, leads are flowing. People find you when when they search for things online, and everything gets much easier for you. If you're not doing that, like you're fighting over the leftovers. And that's not a good place to be, right? So my whole philosophy is that it's not an extra thing. I mean, it is extra work, but take whatever you're doing currently and just find better ways to share that content in different ways, right? So I just literally improved my own business, my own agency, my own workflow, and then I shared that, and it's brought in thousands of leads for free and paying customers who like buy my stuff. So it just works. It's a win-win for everybody. And even if I wasn't getting that from YouTube, just the fact that I did streamline my operation, I integrated AI into my business, found better and faster ways to work that has helped me anyways, even with my client workload. So that's the plan, right? And now I'm also, training VAs and getting them to do this. So it's giving me back a lot of my freedom, free time to work on stuff I really love doing and making a bigger impact with my videos and my work. I think we all want to feel that way. So that's my little soapbox for today. And yeah, you're the one who suggested that, the quiz funnel. Was that you, Rachel? That was a good one. That turned out really good too. I love that quiz funnel. All right, everyone. That's all for today. I'll be back with many more. And if you want me to use you as a demo, we have inside the mood board method course is a spot where you can fill out a form. I have a lot of people who've applied, but you have a chance to get your brand created here on these demos. I'm going to try to do a lot more of these in 2026. So if you get in now, that would be the better chance, because I'll try to, reward people who jumped in early. All right. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.